6 years ago, he found out that his first love was unexpectedly pregnant. He abandoned me to go to the hospital, caring for her day and night. Later, fearing I would get jealous and cause a scene that might upset her, he sent me abroad to study. 6 years later, he invited me to attend his wedding with his first love. To my surprise, I had a child with me who bore some resemblance to me. Before he could ask, I took the initiative to introduce her. "This is Mia, my daughter." Jason went mad and shouted at me, "Elena, how dare you get married and have a child without my consent? Wasn't it you who said? As long as I don't interfere with you and Luna, you can do whatever you want." On the way to pick up the child from school, I received a call from Jason. Although I had long since deleted his number, when that string of digits appeared on my phone, I instantly recognized the name behind it. "Elena, Luna and I are getting married next month. The date was set in a hurry, and she needs a bridesmaid. After all, you are an old acquaintance of hers, so come back and help out." I just said okay and hung up the phone. Mia's big round eyes stared at my face. "Mom, who is it?" "An old friend is getting married and invited us back home for the wedding." "Really?" Mia has never been to a wedding before. I originally wanted to ignore everything about Jason, but after all, he sponsored my studies abroad. Now that he is getting married, I have to show some respect. Besides, Mia has never been back to our country since she was born. I want to take this opportunity to bring her back to meet relatives and friends. As soon as the plane landed, Jason said he would pick me up. Although I refused, I knew he wouldn't keep his word. Because of this, I had my sister take Mia on the next flight. I didn't want Mia to see Jason. "Long time no see, Elena. Come, call me sister." Jason didn't come to pick me up alone, Luna and her daughter were also there. "Mom, who is this?" Luna looked confused, not knowing how to explain, and glanced at Jason. Jason took her hand. "Chloe, this is Dad's sister." "Dad is wrong. Dad's sister shouldn't be called sister, she should be called aunt." Jason picked up the child and affectionately rubbed her nose. "My kid has grown up. Now she's even smarter than Dad. How are you so amazing?" Luna took the opportunity to link arms with Jason and gave me an apologetic smile. "Elena, we really trouble you this time. For such a small matter as our wedding, you had to travel all the way back from abroad. Originally, the wedding was planned for the year after next, but it's all Jason's fault. He said it was too far away and he couldn't wait, so he just set the wedding date for this year. The schedule is too tight, and there's not enough time to prepare for many things. You have to help me talk to him when you come back this time, tell him not to be so impatient about everything." I was too lazy to bother with Luna, so I bypassed her and spoke directly to Jason. "I've called a car, I'm leaving first." Jason hadn't had time to respond to me when the child spoke up first. "Mom, this auntie is so rude, I don't want her to be my aunt." "Don't say such things." Luna pretended to scold her with a light tap on her hand, then said to me, "Elena, the child is still young and speaks without thinking, don't take it to heart. I don't want you to bully my mom." Chloe suddenly struggled and burst into loud crying. Luna quickly took the child from Jason's arms, soothing her as she walked to the side, leaving just Jason and me staring at each other. Jason was the first to lose his temper. "Elena, so many years have passed, how can you still not accept reality? This is an adult matter, what does it have to do with a child? Today Luna specially put aside the wedding to come with me to pick you up and take you home, and you treat Luna with this kind of attitude? After this wedding, I hope you can completely return to your own life, and we never see each other again." Jason left me behind and turned away. Watching their figures gradually blur, I couldn't help but chuckle. Mia and my sister's flight landed around the same time, so I decided to wait for them at the airport to go back together. While waiting at the airport, bored out of my mind, I kept recalling what Jason had just said to me, tears uncontrollably sliding down my cheeks. I silently vowed in my heart that after attending his wedding this time, I would have no further involvement with him. I never expected that after 6 years of not seeing Jason, when we met again, he would still choose to make me suffer endlessly. The moment Mia saw me, she hugged me tightly. Mom, why are you crying? Who bullied you? I stroked Mia's head. Be good, Mia. As long as you're here, no one dares to bully Mom. After putting Mia to sleep at night, I scrolled through Facebook. Jason was still posting about the kids as usual. Today the child won first place at the parent-child sports meet. So awesome. In the photo, Jason was holding the child, Luna stood beside Jason, linking arms with him. The three of them wore the same smile, looking more like a family of three than an actual family of three. Back then, Luna unexpectedly got pregnant. The child's father was afraid to take responsibility and fled the country. She didn't want the child to be born without a father, so she found Jason. As expected, Jason couldn't bear to see Luna carry the child alone for 10 months, so he left me and took care of Luna day and night. Several times I cried and tried to stop him, but he was so angry that he overturned the glass coffee table at home and slammed the door as he left. Elena, can you be a little sensible? She's in her 10th month of pregnancy, the time when she needs protection and care. If something happens to her or the baby, won't your conscience hurt? The child she's carrying isn't even mine, why should I feel heartache? This is her own choice. If she had been clearer-headed back then and hadn't made mistakes. Enough. Stop talking. If anyone is to blame, blame me for not being by her side all these years and failing to protect her. I was so angry that I went straight to confront Luna. Luna. This is not Jason's child, on what grounds are you making Jason take responsibility? Because Jason loves me, and loves everything related to me. Isn't such a simple truth clear to you? I was furious, and before I could say much more, Luna pretended to have a stomach ache and had the servant take her to the hospital. Naturally, this alarmed Jason, and he stayed by Luna's side without leaving. A month before Luna's due date, Jason approached me, Elena, Luna will give birth next month. To be cautious, I don't want her to be upset by you. You've always wanted to study abroad for graduate school, and I've arranged everything for you overseas. You don't need to worry. The plane leaves the day after tomorrow and will take you straight to the school. If it were before, I would never have been willing to give up my place for Luna, no matter what. But now I know that forced things never turn out sweet. I didn't cry or make a fuss, I just said one word, okay. There was a rehearsal before the wedding. After all, the G family was a big and influential one, and the scale of the wedding was not something an ordinary family could match. Naturally, there could be no mistakes in the process. Jason called me and asked me to come over, saying he wanted to discuss some details of the wedding with me. As soon as I entered, Luna was touching up her makeup. Elena, you're here? She glanced at the child in the corner playing games on their phone. Seeing that the child had no intention of looking up, she reminded again, Chloe, look who's here? The child looked up at me briefly, and upon seeing it was me, showed a face full of disdain before turning back to the screen. Luna didn't exactly let her off, saying, Chloe, how did your parents teach you? When guests come, you have to be polite. Hurry up and call someone. Seeing that she was unmoved, she went over and forcibly snatched the game console from her hands. Of course, she was unhappy and still came over to me, spitting on me, hello, Auntie. Only then did Luna hurriedly come over, pretending to scold the child, you kid. What's going on? This is your dad's sister, not your mom's sister, so you should call her aunt. If your dad sees this, he'll definitely punish you. Apologize to Auntie right now. Dad loves me so much, he wouldn't scold me. I won't apologize. If you have the guts, let Dad come and scold me. Luna tapped the child's shoulder, and the child immediately tried to run out. I grabbed her, but she quickly broke free. Luna was a bit shocked, probably not expecting me to bother with her child. Then she gave an awkward smile and said, Elena, don't be mad. Chloe was just playing with you. I can tell the difference between playing and messing around. She spat on me. Does she usually play like this with you? Seeing that I was so serious, Luna said, you can blame Jason for this. Jason is especially close to Chloe and spoils her a lot. Whenever I scold her, he won't allow it. That's why Chloe has become so spoiled and willful. Kids these days are really hard to manage. You'll understand when you have your own. I hummed softly, if you can't take care of your child, why blame the child? Just as I said this, Mia ran in, Mom. My sister came in to explain, I have some urgent matters to handle at the company, so I can only bring the child over. I'll leave first. Turning back, Luna was so shocked that her mouth formed an O shape. Is this your child? Mom, I want to go to the bathroom. I ignored Luna's words and simply said, excuse me, then took Mia towards the bathroom. If I were to say why, it might be because I just returned to the country and was suffering from some stomach discomfort. Mia had a stomachache, so I had to let her wait outside the door. Maybe because she waited too long, Mia started crying. I hurried out, and just as I reached the door, I heard Jason's voice, little one, what's wrong? Mom is inside having diarrhea, she hasn't come out for a long time, I'm worried she's feeling unwell. Just as Jason was about to call the waitress over to check, I came out. Mia threw herself onto me and called me Mom once, leaving Jason completely stunned. Let me introduce you, this is my daughter, Mia. He looked up at me, his face suddenly turning pale. Is she your biological child? I nodded. Jason could no longer hold back and suddenly shouted at me like a madman, Elena, how dare you get married and have a child without my consent? I remained calm and unshaken. Jason, isn't it what you said? As long as I don't disturb you and Luna, I can do whatever I want. Mia was frightened, shrinking completely into my arms. Jason glanced at Mia, as if recalling something, then he bent down and crouched, switching to a gentle tone, your name is Mia, right? Mia nodded. Hello Mia, tell Uncle, how old are you? Mia looked at me, and after I nodded, she answered, extending one hand, Uncle, I am 5 years old this year. Jason stared at me, his expression growing even darker. Mia, can you tell Uncle who your father is? I picked Mia up in one arm, intending to turn and leave. Jason urgently grabbed my wrist, Elena, is this really necessary? I turned around and looked back, what do you mean? Jason let go of my hand, I advise you to quickly abandon these unrealistic fantasies. Do you think that, like Luna, having a child will make me jealous, change my mind, and bring me back to you? It's utterly ridiculous. I didn't want to bother with him, but hearing him say such things truly left me speechless. I snorted coldly, Jason, I also advise you not to be so self-deluded. This child has nothing to do with you. Before leaving, I dropped a line, oh, by the way, after the wedding, I will take Mia abroad and never come back. Jason can rest assured, the act of using the child to threaten the legitimate wife's position will not happen. I didn't see Jason's expression, but I guess it wasn't a pretty sight. Because I heard a waiter tell him that Luna was looking for him, and he replied very impatiently, got it. Letting her wait for me a bit won't kill her. After I walked away, Mia finally dared to ask, Mom, who was that uncle just now? I didn't know how to explain the relationship between Mia and Jason. The G family and the Zhou family were old friends. After the Zhou family went bankrupt, my father fled abroad, and my mother, after pushing me to be cared for by Mrs. G, disappeared without a trace. I basically grew up under Jason's shadow, we were typical childhood sweethearts. After Jason and I were admitted to the same university, he and I developed feelings for each other. He gave up the opportunity to marry into a wealthy family and resolutely chose to be with me. Jason's parents have a very good relationship with me. Not only did they not oppose it, but from then on, they regarded me as the future daughter-in-law of the G family. My relationship with Jason had always been good, until Jason Luna appeared, and all the sweetness was completely shattered. Mia saw that I was stunned and fiddled with my nose. Mom, why aren't you saying anything? The uncle just now is Mom's brother. Why have I never heard that Mom has a brother? Brother isn't close to Mom, and Mia has never met Mom's brother, so Mom forgot to tell Mia. It's all Mom's fault. Mom, then should I call uncle or maternal uncle? I looked at Mia's face, paused for a moment, and gave her no answer. There was still some time before the official wedding, and recently the flu was rampant. First, my sister got infected, and Mia and I, having been in close contact with her for a long time, couldn't escape it either. Mia kept having recurring fevers, and despite taking medicine and getting injections, she didn't improve. I had no choice but to take her to the hospital again. Unexpectedly, at the hospital, I happened to run into Jason, who was with Luna and Chloe. Jason was holding a weak Chloe, who seemed quite ill. Luna was the first to speak. "Elena, is the child okay?" "She's fine, thank you for your concern. This flu has been really annoying lately. Chloe keeps coughing at home from time to time. Fortunately, Jason is by her side and taking good care of her. A child catching a cold is no small matter, you should be extra careful." I couldn't help but cough softly a few times. Actually, I was feeling dizzy today as well, but in order to help the child get better quickly, I had no choice but to push through and bring the child to see the doctor first. Jason, on the other hand, unconsciously took a step forward while holding Chloe. Is Mia okay?" This action clearly annoyed Luna, but she still joked with Jason in a playful manner. "We mothers are tough for our children, no matter what, we can endure it. You just don't worry about us unnecessarily, okay?" "Mom, I feel so bad." "Jason, Chloe isn't wearing a mask, and there are many people in the hospital. It wouldn't be good if she got infected again. Let's not bother Elena taking the child to the doctor anymore. If we delay, the one who suffers will still be the child." It's not that I don't understand the implication behind her words, but for Mia's sake, I'm too tired to argue with Luna. Jason frowned for a moment. I turned around and heard him call out to me, "Elena." I looked back and saw Jason handing Chloe into Luna's arms, then he came over alone. "Jason, do you still have things to do? You don't look well either. It's not easy to take care of the kids alone. If you need any help, just let me know." Before Jason could finish speaking, I interrupted him. "No need to be polite, Jason. If I need help, I'll find the doctors and nurses myself. Thank you for your kindness." After saying this, Jason hesitated for a moment, then looked troubled but still followed me, as if he couldn't let go. Just as he was about to take Mia from my arms, Luna comforted the crying Chloe. "Chloe, be good. Mommy knows you're feeling bad. Daddy has to take other kids to see the doctor now, but he'll be back soon to be with you. Baby, don't cry, be good." Seeing this, Jason glanced at Mia again. "You go stay with Chloe. I don't need your help." Chloe's crying grew louder. "If you need anything, call me, I'll come right away." After saying this, Jason ran over and picked up Chloe, while Luna grabbed Jason's arm, urging him to leave faster. I stayed with Mia while she received her 4-drip. Compared to when she first arrived, Mia was finally a bit more spirited. As for me, I had a splitting headache and kept holding my forehead. Mia took a bottle of hot water from the bag and placed it on my forehead. "Mom, I know you're feeling bad too. After I finish the 4, I'll take you to see the doctor." I gave a comforting smile, not wanting Mia to worry. "Mia, you're so wonderful. You've grown up and can take care of Mom now." Mia glanced at a family of 3 sitting beside us, then suddenly said to me, "Mom, it would be great if Dad were here. That way, you wouldn't have to take care of me all by yourself and be so tired." I pulled Mia into my arms. "Be good, Mia. Mom isn't tired." I don't know how, but I actually fainted. When I woke up, I saw Mia sitting right by my bedside. I let out a long breath and quickly grabbed her hand. "Mom, you're finally awake." Mia hugged me tightly, and I gently patted her back. My head still hurt a lot. Just as I was about to ask Mia what had happened, Jason walked into the room holding a pot of hot water. "Why are you here? You just fainted. Mia couldn't wake you up and wanted to find a doctor." Luckily, I happened to run into her and came over right away. Jason poured a cup of hot water and handed it to me, then called the nurse over. He bent down and placed his hands on Mia's shoulders. "Mia, Uncle and Mom have something to talk about. Can you go play with the nurse for a while?" Mia glanced at me, and I knew Jason had definitely noticed something. From the moment he entered the room, the way he looked at me and Mia was off. I know Jason's personality, if he senses something, he won't let it go without getting to the bottom of it. I nodded at Mia, and the nurse took her out the door. Elena, why did you lie? Why did you keep everything from me? I looked at Jason in confusion, saying nothing. I just looked at Mia's medical records. Mia is already 6 years old this year. That means, before you went abroad. Don't overthink it. The records were just a mistake by the doctor. Mia is only 5 this year. Jason, she is not your daughter. Jason's eyes instantly reddened. Elena, how long do you intend to keep deceiving me? I turned my head toward the window and took a sip of hot water. Then tell me, if Mia is not my child, who is the father? Where is he? You don't need to know who the father is. He's abroad now. I have a good relationship with him, and Mia is living happily. Jason, you don't need to worry. Elena, how can you be so heartless? I just asked Mia, and she said she doesn't have a father, only a mother. Now tell me the truth, is the child really mine or not? She only said that her father is not in the country. You misunderstood. Jason wanted to continue questioning, but I knew he already knew the answer, he just needed me to admit it. He knew that as long as I didn't speak, even if Mia was his biological daughter, he would have no way to acknowledge her. Dad. Jason and I turned around at the same time and saw Luna's daughter Chloe standing at the door. Jason didn't respond to Chloe but impatiently looked at Luna. How are you here? I asked the doctor, and when I heard you were here, I came over. I didn't want to disturb you, but Chloe was feeling unwell and kept insisting on seeing her dad. I really had no choice but to bring her to see you. Chloe, let's go, you saw it too, Dad has things to take care of. Chloe broke free from Luna's hand and suddenly threw herself into Jason's arms. I don't want to, I want Dad here. Dad, Chloe feels bad, wants Dad to tell Chloe a story. Jason glanced at me reluctantly. Seeing that Jason didn't respond immediately, Chloe grabbed his hand and started crying loudly. Dad, do you not want Chloe anymore? Dad, don't leave Chloe behind, Chloe is scared. But Jason still pulled Chloe along. I also got out of bed to find Mia. I asked Mia what Jason had just asked about, and what Mia told me was basically the same as what Jason had told me. Walking back to the ward, Mia was not as restless as usual. I saw she looked absent-minded. Mia, what's wrong? Mom, who exactly is this strange uncle? Why does she keep asking about Mia's dad? Mia doesn't have a dad at all. Didn't Mom already tell you? This is Mom's older brother. Maybe it's because he hasn't seen Mom for a long time. Mom is Mia's mother, and he wants to know how we're doing abroad. Mia nodded, half understanding. When will Uncle come again? Mia looked up at me. When she asked this question, my body paused for a moment. Could it really be the deep bond between father and daughter that made Mia realize something? Uncle is very busy with work and can't come to see Mia often. Besides, we're going home soon. Uncle lives in our home country, so it's not convenient for him to visit Mia frequently. Mia's smile gradually faded, looking extremely disappointed. I just saw Uncle holding a little girl's hand. Is that his daughter? I nodded. Suddenly, I felt a bit sorry for Mia. After all, this wasn't the first time Jason had left her because of Luna's child. When I found out I was pregnant, Jason hadn't been home for over a month. At that time, Jason and I were out of contact. When I learned the news, I was both excited and conflicted. Jason and I both really loved children. Countless times, I had lain in his arms, imagining what our future child would look like. He said he wanted a daughter and had even picked a name for her, Chloe. He hoped the child would grow up like Chloe, without experiencing emotional ups and downs. I never expected that he would give that name to Luna's daughter. Before going to the hospital, I decided to find him and tell him the news in person, but he refused to see me. I was unwilling to give up and planned to wait downstairs at his company, vowing not to leave until I saw him. He had his assistant send me a message, saying Luna was in his office and telling me to stop causing trouble. If I upset Luna and it affected the child in any way, he wouldn't let me off easily. He actually said such harsh words to me because of Luna. I was so heartbroken that my hands twitched, and I couldn't even hold the medical report steady. I wanted to take a taxi to the hospital, but I was so distracted that I chose the wrong address, and the driver took me back home. I collapsed on the cold floor and cried my heart out, finally making a firm decision to go to my father. Not long after, Jason arranged for someone to send me abroad. This move of his only strengthened my resolve. I knew that in this lifetime I would never let him know about Mia's existence. Over the years, he has frequently posted about Luna's child on Facebook, but I wonder if he has ever thought that because of this, he has perfectly missed out on the growth of his own biological child. Shortly after being discharged from the hospital, Jason sent me a message. "Elena, so much has happened, why didn't you tell me?" I know that with his abilities, it wouldn't be too difficult for him to trace my life abroad over these years. Jason arranged to meet at a cafe we used to frequent. I knew that at this point, avoiding the issue was no longer a solution. To truly resolve the problem, I had to face it head-on. "You already know?" Jason didn't reply but pushed a paternity test report towards me with both hands. He picked up a cup of coffee, his hand trembling slightly. A few drops of coffee accidentally spilled onto the report. He hurriedly grabbed the report and wiped it clean with the sleeve of his suit, then placed it on a nearby chair. He cautiously asked me, "Elena, how have you and Mia been these past few years?" "Jason, how we've been is a matter between Mia and me, it doesn't really concern you." "Elena, you had Mia, so why didn't you tell me before going abroad?" "Why? If I had known earlier that you had Mia." "Jason, you really are someone who forgets favors easily." "I never sought you out. Back then, you drove me away for Luna's sake." "What did you say about that?" "You said that if my presence caused any problems for Luna's child, you would never let me go, even if it meant death." "I am just a weak woman with a child. I am afraid of provoking Luna, and that you would take revenge on me and the child. So many years have passed, and I am no longer the little girl who would only cry when faced with difficulties." Now, I looked Jason straight in the eyes, my words and tone filled with a resolute coldness. Jason hung his head in shame. When he looked up again, he no longer dared to meet my gaze. Instead, he frantically beat his own chest. "It's all my fault. It's all my fault. I have wronged you and Mia. I am not even human. I have wronged you and Mia. I am not human." I just picked up that cup of coffee and took a small sip. Even if he were to beat himself to death today, it would have nothing to do with me, let alone expect a word of forgiveness from me. "Jason, if you asked me out today just to show off, then don't waste everyone's time. Mia is still waiting for me at home." I picked up my bag and was about to get up, but Jason grabbed my hand with both of his. He looked like he had suddenly lost his mind. "Elena, it was indeed my fault back then. I was afraid Luna couldn't bear the blow of being abandoned and might harm herself. Sending you abroad was only to make you reflect on your character. I planned to come and bring you back personally after you finished your studies. Now that you're back, can you give me a chance, just for Mia's sake? I think Mia also wants her dad by her side. I've been absent from your lives for so many years, causing you so much pain. Let me spend the time ahead with you, taking good care of you and making it up to you, okay?" I really couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Jason, don't make me laugh anymore. Aren't you afraid Luna will be hurt again? You're such a kind person, so why not do a good deed all the way? Mia and I are doing well now, so please, have mercy and stop bothering us. Mia wants her father by her side, no doubt, but I think, if Mia knew that years ago it was her father who abandoned her for another child." Jason naturally understood the unspoken meaning behind my words. He stood up, wanting to stop me, but because of what I said, he couldn't move his feet. I walked out of the cafe and, through the glass, saw him suddenly slump into a chair, wildly grabbing at his hair. Until the waiter came to ask what was going on, he threw the coffee cup to the ground, causing a panic in the cafe, then overturned the table in front of him. Before getting into the car, I heard Jason's wailing cry echoing down the street corner. Shortly after, Jason announced the cancellation of his wedding with Luna. This incident stirred up a huge storm online, sparking nationwide discussion overnight. At that time, I had already packed my bags, planning to take Mia abroad. This time, my sister and brother-in-law had secured investment from foreign investors, and we would be going to another country to start a new business together. No matter how powerful the G family was, they couldn't possibly reach that far. Moreover, this time going abroad, I intended to settle there permanently. I didn't want Mia to know about the love and hate between Jason and me before she was born. I wanted Mia to grow up in a sweet, protected environment. What I never expected was that Luna would vent all her hatred over the cancellation of this wedding on me, thinking I was the one sabotaging it, even accusing me of using the child to threaten Jason. I had long known that she wouldn't remain indifferent when the duck she was about to catch flew away. I also heard that Jason publicly announced this time that Chloe was not a child of the G family. This double blow greatly shocked Luna and pushed her to the brink. I thought she would come after me, but to my surprise, she actually had someone kidnap Mia. That day, my sister took the child to the amusement park. Halfway through, she called me and said Mia was missing. I quickly reported it to the police and then rushed to the scene to look for her. Suddenly, I remembered that Luna had sent me a threatening message a few days ago. "Elena, if you don't give Jason back to me, I will take him." I quickly opened the message and noticed a detail. There were no punctuation marks, which meant it was unfinished. At the time, I thought Luna meant she wanted to take Jason away from me, but I never considered getting back together with Jason, so I ignored her. Looking back now, I realized I had the wrong target. I sent the message to the police, who began tracking Luna's whereabouts. But Luna and Chloe seemed to have vanished into thin air. I thought maybe Jason could contact her, so I called him. Jason quickly arrived at the scene and said he had already sent people to search. He told me not to worry and promised he would rescue Mia from Luna. Just then, my phone rang again. It was a message from Luna. "Elena, why did you have to return to the country? You caused Chloe to lose her father. You made my daughter and me lose everything overnight. Your daughter is in my hands. If you want to save her, you have to trade your life for hers." Jason was notifying the police while trying to buy time, taking me and his bodyguards to the crime scene. Luna's hair was disheveled, and the moment she saw me, she let out a piercing scream. Seeing that the person accompanying me was Jason, she seemed to be suddenly struck by some great shock, laughing maniacally without stopping. It was clear that her mental state was unstable. "Husband, come here quickly. I helped you take back our daughter. Let's drive this wretched woman out of the country. From now on, the four of us will live happily together, okay?" Jason stopped me and slowly walked toward Luna, bit by bit. "Wife, you're still thinking of me. Let me see Mia first, so I can take her away and not let this wretched woman snatch the child." Jason was about to succeed, but Luna suddenly grabbed the child. Behind her was a sheer cliff thousands of feet deep. "Husband, you lied to me. You and that woman teamed up to deceive me, didn't you? If you won't let me live in peace, I won't let you off either." Just as she was about to let go, my heart fell off the cliff first. Seeing the situation was critical, Jason said to Luna, "Luna, I've already taken Chloe away. Put Mia down, or Chloe will suffer the same fate. If you want Chloe to be safe, don't make any rash moves." Luna suddenly stopped, clearly stunned. She didn't expect Jason to treat her child this way. Her body went limp, collapsing to the ground. Jason took advantage of her distraction, exchanged a glance with his bodyguard, who then diverted her attention and snatched the child away. Luna tried to reach out to grab the child back but was pushed off the cliff by Jason. Behind her was an abyss thousands of feet deep, while behind Jason were countless police officers who had just arrived. Jason took Mia from the bodyguard, walked over to me, handed Mia to me, raised his hands high, and was taken away by the police. Luna died on the spot. It was only afterward that I learned Jason had indeed sent someone to capture Chloe. Later, I asked Jason why he did that. He knew Chloe was Luna's only weakness. As long as Chloe was in his hands, he had leverage to negotiate with Luna, to stop her from harming Mia. After all, Mia was truly saved by him. Before going abroad, I still went to see him once. "Elena, you're here. I've been waiting for you for a long time." Jason's eyes were filled with tears, thinking hope would come to him. "Yes, I came to say goodbye. I will take Mia abroad and will never come back." "Elena, you're still angry, aren't you?" "I never loved Luna. Back then, I just couldn't bear it. I married her because the Su family held damaging information on the G family, so I wanted to use this wedding to create a huge public relations event. Back then, I sent you abroad to study not only because of Luna, but also because the G family group was facing a crisis. You were my weakness, and I was very afraid they would use you to threaten me. I originally planned to bring you back to the country to marry once you finished your studies. Elena, I was wrong. Please don't take Mia away, okay? I will definitely try to behave well and get out of prison early. How can I be at ease if you live alone abroad with Mia?" I no longer listened to Jason's pleas. No matter how many reasons force us apart, after all these years, they have become pale explanations. I know that the moment Luna appeared before him, he must have been moved. "Thank you for saving Mia." I was about to hang up and leave when Jason looked at me with almost pleading eyes. "Elena, is there still a chance for Mia and me to recognize each other in this lifetime? I hope you will no longer disturb the life of our mother and daughter. I know Mia doesn't want that either. Please respect our feelings." I hung up the phone, and Jason also fell into despair. I turned and left. Before I left, Jason's parents caught up with us at the airport. When they saw Mia, they rushed forward in a single stride and hugged her tightly. Mia, faced with this sudden situation, was not frightened. After they let go, Mia walked over to me and took my hand. "Mom, let's go. Mia never wants to come back. Mia only has Mom, and having Mom is enough for Mia." I shed tears of happiness and said to Mia, "Mia, you are so good." Jason's perspective. That day, the company assistant told me that Elena was waiting for me downstairs. Camille was negotiating with me at the time, and I didn't want their people to see Elena. I was well aware of how ruthless the Su family was. If they knew Elena was my weakness, they would definitely use her as a bargaining chip at the negotiation table. Elena had been crouching by the door the whole time. The assistant said that if Elena couldn't see me, she wouldn't leave. In a moment of urgency, I had no choice but to have the assistant pass on the message that Luna was in the office. I didn't want Elena's presence to upset Luna. To even get her to agree to my plan to send her abroad, I had to threaten her harshly, saying that if anything happened to Luna's child because of her, I wouldn't let her off easily. Later, Elena did follow the plan and put everything in China behind to study abroad. The reason I kept posting about my child on Facebook was just to let Elena see me. Even though I knew Elena had given up on me and even hated me, I was still afraid she might miss me. I wanted to take advantage of showing off my child to post some selfies of myself. Although doing this was really pathetic, it was the only way I could try to maintain some connection with her. My marriage to Luna was out of helplessness. The Su family held a lot of damaging business secrets about the G family. We received news that the Su family was preparing to use online public opinion to smear the G family and deal a certain blow to them. We knew that Mr. Xia valued the impression of his partners greatly. If the Su family acted like this at such a critical moment, the G family might not secure the opportunity to cooperate with Mr. Xia. After weighing the options, the only choice was to announce the wedding of the G family's son as a public relations move. The CP couple persona that Luna and I had been hyping up these past few years finally came in handy on this day. Using the enthusiasm of fans shipping our CP, we diverted everyone's attention and temporarily blocked out the minor scandals and smears released by the Su family. I originally thought that after the wedding, once we secured Mr. Xia's investment and the G family successfully got through the crisis, I would go abroad to find Elena and explain everything clearly to her. But I had selfish motives. I knew Elena was very angry with me because of Luna. I wanted to use the wedding to bring her back, to see if she would get jealous. I wanted to see her care about me. After waiting so long for the day she returned to the country, I originally planned to pick her up myself. But Luna insisted on coming along. Fearing there wouldn't be enough time, I had no choice but to take them both. When she looked at me for the first time, I couldn't see any sign of a joyful reunion. It was as if I was just a stranger in her eyes. At that moment, my heart shattered quietly and completely. Coming out of the restroom, I noticed a child standing at the door who bore some resemblance to Elena. Suddenly, I had a bad feeling. Could it be? It wasn't until the little girl called Elena Mom that I couldn't believe it. Had Elena really gotten married and had a child? I kept reassuring myself that Elena must be jealous and was just making up a story with some random little girl to fool me. But the face of that little girl, who looked so much like Elena, lingered in my mind and wouldn't go away. On the eve of the wedding, not wanting to see Luna, I stayed at the company all the time. Luna came looking for me, holding Chloe who had a high fever. I told her to take the child to see a doctor immediately. She threatened me that if I didn't take her myself, she would just let Chloe's fever continue. Reluctantly, I had no choice but to accompany her to the hospital. I didn't expect to see Elena and Mia at the hospital. Elena was holding Mia, her face flushed red, and she was walking unsteadily. I asked if she needed help, but she refused. After she left, I was very worried about her and Mia. I quickly took Chloe to the lounge and set off to find them. Elena was accompanying Mia while she was receiving in-4 drip, and I sat behind them. Mia panicked for a moment because Elena had fainted. I rushed forward and carried Elena to find a doctor. It was also on that day that I accidentally saw Mia's medical records and realized that Mia might be my daughter. I couldn't help but confront Elena, and her attitude gave me some clarity. I deeply regretted it, but at the same time, I was very grateful for the decision I made back then. Only by sending them abroad could I protect them completely. I went home and told my parents about this. They were especially happy to know they had a granddaughter. We discussed and decided that even if the G family fell apart because of this, I could not marry Luna. I just didn't expect that after canceling the wedding, Luna would react so drastically as to threaten to take her own life. When Elena called me to say that Mia was missing, I felt like the sky was falling. I immediately sent someone to find Chloe. I knew that Luna alone could never have managed the kidnapping. Luna must have had the help and guidance of the Su family. Mia was finally rescued. Before Elena went abroad, she was still willing to come see me once, and I was already satisfied. I know that in my current situation, I can't give her a good future. I asked my parents to hold my daughter once more on my behalf, hoping that Elena and Mia can forget everything abroad and start a new life.